Well, hey everybody, thanks for joining us for day 2 of this daily dose. That's right. If you didn't listen to yesterday's, stop right now because today will make no sense. Go back and listen to yesterday's. It's the first part 2 daily dose. Probably the only one we'll ever do. But here we go. Part 2. So remember yesterday, a lot of unfairness is happening to Job. I mean, life has just been a disaster for him. He's questioning God. He demands God to answer him. And for 2 chapters, I hope you read Job 38 and 39. For 2 chapters, God goes, "Where were you, smart guy? You're going to question me? Where were you when I built the earth, when the galaxies were zoned off, if you will? Where were you when I put the earth's foundation together? How does water, how do the weather cycles, how does the animal kingdom work?" I mean, he just started hitting him with stuff. After 2 chapters of this, Job bracing himself against God's questioning. Chapter 40, Job's answer, verse 3. Then Job answered the Lord, "I am unworthy. How can I reply to you? I put my hand over my mouth. I spoke once, but I have no answer. Twice, but I will say no more." Job's like, "I'm so sorry I questioned you. I'm going to put my hand over my mouth. I'm going to actually shut up. I questioned you once. I'll never do it again. I'll never do it again." God's compassion and mercy comes through. No, check it out. Then the Lord spoke to Job once again out of the storm. "Brace yourself like a man. I will question you, and you will answer me." Job, you're not getting off that easy. I still want to put you in your place. And there's good news at the end of this. Are you going to discredit my justice? Would you condemn me just to justify yourself? Do you have an arm like God's, and can your voice thunder like his? Then adorn yourself with glory and splendor. Clothe yourself in honor and majesty. Unleash the fury of your wrath. Look at every proud man and bring him low. Look at every proud man and humble him. Crush the wicked where they stand. Bury them all in the dust together. Shroud their faces in the grave. Then I myself will admit to you that you are your own right hand and you can save yourself. This is God saying, look, I was just talking to you about earthly things you have no answers for. You want to question me? Then you become God. You adorn yourself. You bring justice on the nation. You bring justice on the entire earth. Then I admit you can save yourself, but you can't. Oh, church, I love Job 38, 39, 40, and 41. There have been so many times in my life I don't have answers. We had one of the most tragic events I've ever heard of come out last week. And I just go, God, why? Why? And yet there's no answer for the whys. And when I get to places in life where I got to question God and life doesn't make sense and the earth doesn't make sense and justice doesn't make sense and love's grace and mercy doesn't seem to make sense here, I just stop and I read these passages of a God that says, "Chris, sit down and buckle up. I'm going to ask you 3 chapters of questions just to put you in your place, to remind you you're not God. But in my questions, I'm going to remind you how big of a God you have." I sit here buckled up, braced up, and God unleashes a torrent of questions just to remind me of his size, his power, his justice, his wisdom, if you will. We're now trying to personify something that can't be personified. And at the end of it, he says, "And Chris, you're my boy. You will not know the answers, and you will not get your answers. But I want to remind you of how small you are, because in doing so, I'm going to remind you of how great your God is." And church, I need that. I will sit in times of questions that go unanswered and say, "God, I don't get it. I don't get it. But I get I'm not big enough to get it. And I get that you are more than capable." If you're struggling with the unfairness, the injustice of life, Job 38, 39, 40, 41, amazing chapters. If you're saying, "Man, life's pretty good," then just buckle up and understand how big your dad is. And he's got this. And I can go through the questions I don't have answers and say, "God, you do." And I may not get them on this side of heaven, but I know my dad that has the answers. And I will buckle up and I will rest in him. I love the book of Job, chapters 38 on. Read them for yourself. This is your Father, North Coast. This is our God.